16 U.S. Marines were arrested at California's Camp Pendleton on Thursday morning following a human smuggling investigation. According to a statement from the 1st Marine Division, the group is accused of a number of crimes, ranging from human smuggling to drug-related offenses. 8 additional Marines were also questioned about unrelated drug offenses, the Marine Corps said. And the Marines are being held in a brig at Camp Pendleton. They're all members of the oldest active duty Marine Division, but none of them were among the 6,600 troops who have been assigned to the U.S.-Mexico border. The arrest took place following an investigation earlier this month after 2 Marines were arrested while allegedly driving immigrants across the U.S.-Mexico border. The 2 Marines arrested in that case face federal charges for illegally transporting illegal immigrants across the border for financial gain. And according to CNN, that group of immigrants told Border Patrol that they were planning to pay $8,000 to be smuggled into the country, and they were directed by a cell phone to get into the Marines' car.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable what people will do and what they will risk for money.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Bad
It's like drug smuggling with U.S. Army equipment. It's happened before. It's terrible. I'm glad they got charged.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
On a different note, The Rock is laying the smackdown on efforts to build a giant telescope on Hawaii's largest mountain. The Rock, also known as Dwayne Johnson, of course, was born in California, but he is part Samoan, and he went to high school in Hawaii, and now he's reminding folks why fans called him the People's Champion during his wrestling days. On Wednesday, the Jumanji star joined Native Hawaiian activists protesting the construction of a $1.4 billion telescope on the peak of Mauna Kea. That's a dormant volcano whose peak is considered sacred by Native Hawaiians. The protest began on July 15th, the day construction was set to begin on the project known as the 30-meter telescope. Native activists and their allies blocked the mountain roads and chained themselves to a cattle grate, preventing equipment and workers from reaching the site. Since then, the protests have grown, dropping the people's elbow on the project and halting construction entirely. Yesterday on Twitter, Johnson commented on his time with the protesters, saying, quote, "Embracing and hearing the words of our kapuna brought tears to my eyes too, why I kept my glasses on. I'm optimistic we will accomplish our goals, #Mauna Kea." The telescope supporters say the new observatory on the state's highest peak will provide researchers with unprecedented views of the universe. Tulsi Gabbard has also gotten in on this. She was posting to Instagram about this. The reason this is such a big issue, I mean, it's a clash between sort of cultures and progress, and what are we willing to sacrifice in the name of a little bit better view of the skies. And basically, this peak is not just a holy spot in Native Hawaiians' religion. It is like the holiest place considered by them. So this is becoming a bigger deal, not just in Hawaii, but there have been protests in the mainland as well. Yeah, I mean, it'll have to just be decided through the political process. I don't really fall one way or the other on it. I mean, if Hawaiians don't want to build it, then that's their right. It'll really just come down to what the lawmakers are and what the property, how the property and all that stuff works. I'm not actually sure. Yeah, well, and you can imagine, I mean, if it was a sacred Christian site, it would not be a question. So sure, it's the rights of indigenous peoples and respecting their religious beliefs as well. Yeah, absolutely. And I think in this one it's a little different from the past ones. I mean, in the past you're talking about like an energy pipeline, which is literally like a strategic national security resource, or for actual energy and it affects costs. On a telescope, I mean, look, I'm not a scientist or an astronomer. I'm not an astronomer or a telescope specialist. Maybe they can only build it here, but if you can find another place, I mean, why not? Yeah, exactly. Next week on Rising, former editor-in-chief of the New York Observer, Elizabeth Spears, explains why impeachment talks can't penetrate the cult of the D.C. savvy. Interesting. And Monday is National Whistleblowers Day. Attorney Stephen Cohn discusses why whistleblower protections are so important. Have a fabulous weekend. Hope the weather is nice where you are. We're going to see you next week. See you next week.